Ladakh is not a much traversed land for Indians. Compared to Uttaranchal, very little tourists come here. Ladakh being a very high altitude region and the climatic conditions here being much more risky than Uttaranchal may be one of the reasons. But the lack of Hindu pilgrim centers is the real potential reason for lack of devout Hindu pilgrims. A visit to this rugged terrain will change this perception. Ladakh is Kailasha near to you. The mighty magnificent mountains are a vision of the great Lord. With the distinctly different flora and fauna, the unique ecosystem, barren plateaus and uplands, Ladakh looks extremely fascinating. The Kumara Sambhavam and Megha Sandesha of Kalidasa become a real experience here. Ladakh is definitely a crown on India. A visit to this peaceful area inhabited mostly by Buddhists reaffirm our conviction that India is indeed incredible. The river deltas of the northern plains, the Deccan Plateau and the coastal regions are significantly different from that of the Ladakh region. The frequent landslides and avalanches make Ladakh a difficult terrain for human survival. Highlighting the difficulty staying in a land so barren and with passes so high, a popular Ladakhi proverb goes, "Only the best of friends and the worst of enemies visit us." Yet, each Ladakhi is proud of being an Indian and is happily proclaiming belonging to a country united by cultures. However, Ladakh is still not known an appreciable amount to the rest of the country. Ladakh is relatively more popular among a small community in the country which is passionate about long and adventurous bike rides. The bikers come as far as from the southern tip of India. The beauty of the virgin land is truly enigmatic, and in recent times, common people across the country have started visiting this area in huge numbers. Hundreds of hotels have come up in the last decade alone. Tourism is flourishing and it is a major source of livelihood for the Ladakhis who lack resources otherwise. Ladakhis are very innocent people who can be believed blindly. They are very cultured and loving. The tourism has not spoiled that innocence. The hotels here are not very costly. The daily rents start from ₹1,000 onwards. The biggest city in the Ladakh region, Leh, can be reached by air or by road service from Manali or Srinagar. Both the roads operate only in summer. The Srinagar road passes through Kargil. Tourists are advised to visit only during the period from May to September. During the winter, the rivers get frozen and some tourists arrive to play ice skating on these frozen rivers. In late September and the whole of October, the valleys provide a special visual delight. Apricots and poplars provide a spectacular display of green, gold and rust. The greys and chocolate browns of the mountains, along with the turquoise blue waters and azure blue skies, provide a beautiful panorama of Ladakh in autumn. At such a time, one marvels at the green of the summer crops and the fruit blossoms, which also spring up in the barren brown landscape, toasting a tribute to nature's miracles. Ladakh is at a high altitude of about 11,000 feet to 18,500 feet above sea level. So, the oxygen availability in air is low and the intensity of UV rays is higher. Hence, tourists are strongly advised to take rest for at least 24 hours on reaching Ladakh. During this acclimatization period, our body is expected to adjust to this environment, enabling us to function normally in the low oxygen environment. Headache and vomiting may still occur even after taking these precautions. For protection from UV rays, mufflers and goggles are recommended. While traveling to high altitude regions like Kardungla Pass, oxygen cylinders can be carried as a precaution for emergency situations. The capital of this hill region is Leh. It's a medium-sized city. There are a lot of tourist places to visit and explore in Leh itself. These include Hall of Fame and Triveni Sangam. The river Syak and river Zanskar unite here to flow together as the mighty river Indus. Leh also has many monasteries which are called Gompas in the local language. Shanti Stupa is a recent one and it's very pleasing to the eye. Palaces of old rulers such as the Leh Palace, made purely out of mud, stones and wood, are also places worth seeing. The way to Nubra Valley is enigmatic. The terrain is very dangerous and the roads are very crude. However, to make up for this, beautiful landscapes are revealed as one goes higher and higher up the hills. Each of the gigantic mountains is different from the neighboring ones in color, shape and composition of stones. With folded hand, we can only pray to the great Lord. The whole earth is his expression. Om Namah Shivaya. This region is part of the Karakoram range and lies in the northern part of Ladakh. It boasts of having the highest motorable road in the world, Khardungla Pass, which is on the way to Nubra. Nubra, meaning an orchard or a garden, is indeed a beautiful valley with plenty of agricultural land. The delta by the river Nubra and the river Shyok makes the land fertile. The Silk Road of the legendary King Kanishka passed through this land once. The sand dunes and camel rides in this region are a main tourist attraction. A little farther away from Nubra is a region called Turtuk, a land of aboriginal tribes. This region was reclaimed during the Kargil War. While the central and eastern Ladakh are predominantly Buddhist, the western Ladakh is mainly populated by Shia Muslims. In Turtuk, we can find stone pressure cookers and various other utensils closer to medieval tribal cultures. The Indian Defence Forces have a large presence almost everywhere in the Ladakh region. Siachen and Kargil are now popular regions because of the constant conflict with Pakistan. Pangong Lake is the jewel of Ladakh. The pure crystal clear water glitters with various shades of blue depending on the sunlight. It changes its color from deep blue to sky blue, green, violet and the like. Most parts of this lake are under the control of China, which they captured during the fateful 1962 war. Ladakh is in the rain shadow region. Only very little plants and shrubs grow here. Barley is a main staple food. Apricot, called as kuani in Ladakhi language, can be found in every valley. Snow leopard and ibex are some of the wild animals seen in this region. Yaks have been domesticated and they are a great support to the people. It provides them milk, meat and transportation. Other animals like cows, sheep, camel, horses and donkeys are also not very rare. How people struggle and live in this difficult terrain is definitely a surprise to city dwellers who are fast depleting the resources left in the world. A landslide can be expected any moment in Ladakh. Even for daily necessities, people have to travel days together, not to mention for education and health facilities. Even then, they're happy and content with the facilities available to them. The recent contact with tourists is slowly but definitely changing their lifestyle for the good. Ladakh population is only a little above 1 lakh. The Indian government has extended only very little facilities to them. Education and health services are still far away for the villages. But they still feel safe due to the presence of defense forces, which has a presence in every valley. The local people do their best to help the soldiers and strongly encourage their children to join the army. A tour to Ladakh would be most memorable. It will be a challenging trip with a lot of health problems, but it is a unique and beautiful experience and you will definitely want to visit again. Our Vedic culture sprouted at the bank of river Indus. The river Indus, which we lost to Pakistan during the partition of the country, makes her presence in the country only in Ladakh. A visit to Ladakh is also a pilgrimage to river Indus. So definitely Ladakh is a crown on India.